Hi, this is Magda from Wnętrza ze Wnętrza. In this video, I'll show you an 82 square meter, very colorful, strongly pink apartment in a new building, which was arranged in cooperation with designers. So you'll find a lot of functional solutions here that you can also use in your own home.
Hi, my name is Joanna Felchuk, and together with Anya Baranowska, we co-create the design studio Butterfly Studio. Today we'd like to share with you a project of a colorful apartment in Krakow. The apartment was designed for two investors who came to us with very specific expectations. The apartment was supposed to be not only functional, but also vibrant and colorful, to match the artistic personalities of its residents.
We start, as usual, at the entrance, and right here we have the switches and a decorative 3D panel painted pink, of course, with a pink cabinet above it. Of course, it's too high to serve a practical purpose for hats or scarves, but it's there to hide the boxes that are located there. This way they look much nicer, and here we have a mirror. As you can see, we're in a long hallway, and thanks to the reflection, we don't feel like we're in a narrow space. The hallway actually seems wider. Here, on the other hand, are sliding doors, behind which there is a wardrobe. In the wardrobe, we have 3 closets with doors, which isn't a standard solution. Often, wardrobes are left with open shelving. Here on the sides, there are closets with rods for clothes and space at the bottom where you can put a vacuum cleaner or a bucket, while behind the mirrored doors, there are shelves for shoes or gloves.
To maintain the minimalist character of the apartment, all the connections between the wooden floor and the tiles were made with cork. An additional design guideline was to provide space for 2 cats, which is why a cabinet for the litter box and a passage to the bathroom in the wall were included. Thanks to this, the cats can use the toilet at any time.
Of course, this hole wasn't made by mice. It's a special entrance for the cats to the bathroom. From the cat tunnel, the pet comes out here and then can use one of the 2 entrances to get to the litter box hidden in the cabinet. Both fronts open and the entrances are also movable. So if you need to clean inside, there's no problem at all. Everything is easily accessible. This solution is a great compromise, another one between the needs of cats and the needs of people. The needs of people are rather obvious. Who would want to have a litter box in plain sight? The more hidden it is, the better. But on the other hand, cats actually like to have their litter box in plain view. And what's crucial for them is to have a possible escape route. So, when there are 2 entrances here, if an intruder comes into the litter box, the cat can escape through the other entrance. And that's why it may feel safer than with regular closed litter boxes. The wall on this side has been fully built in, mainly because there's a washing machine and a dryer here, but the remaining space has also been well utilized. There's a pull-out cargo drawer, a regular small drawer, and plenty of shelves for storing cosmetics. You've probably already noticed how colorful this apartment is. Colorful floors, walls, furniture, and even doors and the sink. There's a load-bearing wall here, and that's why there's this drop in height. And it separates the hallway, wardrobe, toilet, and studio from the living area with the bathroom and bedroom. A small section was added here to shield the side of the bookshelf, and this has a practical purpose, not just a decorative one, because of the connectors that are located here. Of course, they could also have been installed on the side of the furniture. However, the cables have to go somewhere, and if they were coming out from this side, they would have to be routed and covered somehow, and the whole bookshelf would lose its aesthetic appeal. By the way, it's very nice. I like its symmetrical shape, the even shelves, and also the fact that there are cabinets with doors at the bottom, so we can display some things and hide others. The ones we don't necessarily want to have on display. Also, pay attention to the colors. The cabinets are pink, the shelves as well, but the back panel, which is also made of furniture board, is in a shade of green.
The living area has a rather unusual layout. In fact, there were several concepts for this space. However, in the end, we decided to separate the 2 countertops in the kitchen. This was so that a large round table for 4 people could be placed in the center. Directly in front of the sofa, we designed a projector screen which was installed in the suspended ceiling.
The suspended ceiling serves 2 purposes. First of all, its main purpose was to hide a structural offset that wasn't marked on the developer's plans, which was a big surprise for both us and the investors. That's why we designed the ceiling in an L shape, which connects directly with the kitchen cabinetry and is in the same raspberry shade. Additionally, we used this space to install a recessed cassette with a projector screen.
The suspended ceiling hides not only the screen, but also the tracks and the LED strip, which provides very decorative lighting. When you're installing a suspended ceiling, you can also consider embedding a track in it, which also creates a nice visual effect. The color from the suspended ceiling continues onto the walls, and since the shelving unit is also in the same shade, it blends in beautifully here. In the lounge area, there are as many as 3 tables with different interesting shapes. However, I would like to point out here that the perception of the interior is greatly influenced not only by the shapes, but also by the materials from which individual items are made. And here we have a corduroy sofa, a rug with fibers of different lengths, and a velour armchair. Thanks to this, the whole space is much more pleasant than if the materials were uniform, and everything together is much more enjoyable to experience than if all the surfaces and textures were the same.
Originally, the design included a spot for a hanging chair here, but in the end, the owners decided to place a monstera plant in this spot.
At the other end of the suspended ceiling, the color was also extended vertically, but not on the wall. This time, it was applied to the built-in furniture. A different material reflects light differently, so the color, especially from certain angles, might look a bit different. However, it is the same shade, and from my perspective, that's definitely noticeable. Here we also have a great example of a really interesting built-in, because in this spot, in the back, there are vertical pipes. Because of that, the cabinet that was made here is very shallow. It's for spices and it makes the level even with the fridge. It's a shame the space behind the fridge suddenly got deeper, with the countertop only further on. When the built-in furniture was designed this way, it looks much more aesthetic. And what I also want to draw your attention to here is the ventilation. Notice that there are vents cut out at the top of the furniture, which fit in here very nicely. As you can see, the upper fronts don't have any knobs or handles, and they're not pushed to open either, so opening them is very simple. The front is simply a bit longer than the cabinet body, so you can open it by grabbing it from underneath. Kitchen countertops. This is terrazzo. It needs to be impregnated once a year, and here on the wall we have white tiles, but with colored grout. This perfectly shows that even such simple solutions can sometimes be enhanced with a detail like grout to achieve a really interesting effect. The residents sent the designers photos and inspirational graphics that reflected the character they wanted to achieve in this interior, and that's why we have so many forms here. A beautiful upholstered headboard, behind it 3-dimensional panels, and on the other side, patterned wallpaper. I really like this jewelry stand. The wardrobes in the bedroom don't have rods, so the clothes that hang on hangers ended up in the walk-in closet. Here there are shelves at the bottom of the drawers, and what I also want to draw your attention to is the lighting. Look how beautiful it looks.
The blue tubes behind the television not only serve a decorative function, but also hide the cables that would be visible when entering the musician's bedroom.
In the bathroom, there's a green built-in unit on the wall with the toilet, cabinets with shelves on top, and down here, there's also a deep drawer. And there's another drawer under the sink down here, this time not pushed to open, but with a handle, and the sink itself. Look, it has this nice black stripe on the edge, which matches the enamel. The tiles on this wall are square, but the ones at the very bottom and very top have a printed pattern, so from a distance it looks like the tiles are rounded. Shelves in the shower are important, so you have convenient access to all your cosmetics and don't have to bend down for them. And here, They've also been decoratively illuminated. Of course, I'll leave links to Butterfly Studio for you in the video description. And not only to the website and the Zabukim store, but also to Instagram and TikTok, where the girls are very active. I also encourage you to check out the Vnencha profiles, subscribe to the channel, leave a thumbs up, and share your opinion in the comments. And finally, of course, I want to remind you about our store at Vnencha, where you will find plenty of interior design books and products for children, including games with an architecture or spatial thinking theme. I think this might interest you, so I warmly invite you and see you next time. Bye.